Alrighty, there we go. We are live. Hello, everyone. Incredible greetings. Incredible greetings. How is everyone doing? One of my last live videos of 2025. Wow, I can't believe it. It's like once you get to the end, it feels like the year flew by. But I can't believe that we are at the end of 2025. So yeah, I have maybe one Monday. I'll probably end up doing. I don't know. I might ride out like next week and do some lives because we know that the content is changing for 2026. I got to get a lot of this out of my system like now. If you are watching this over on our YouTube, Soloholics Anonymous and Honestly Speaking, yeah, this is not specific to Silhouette Studio, not specific to our Honestly Speaking brand. Going forward, like these types of videos will live on our 365 Creative Academy. I won't cross post them. So make sure that you subscribe to 365 Creative Academy on YouTube. But this will be some of our last live videos, especially on those platforms. So if you're watching, you want to still connect, you can find me on 365 Creative Academy. All right. But we're going to get this all shared out. And all right, let me go find the live broadcast and then share it out. Okay, there we go. Whether or not it is good to niche down. All right, let's go ahead and copy and share. And then let's get this all shared out into my groups. Group. And 1, 2, 3. Next. Paste. All right, there we go. All shared out. Okay. Let me introduce myself so that we can get into it. Incredible afternoon, Danetta. Danietta. Yeah. Okay. So, hello. Incredible greetings. I am Shakia, the professor of HSing 365, and this is 365 Creative Academy. Now, yesterday, there were a couple of conversations in regards to niching down. And on TikTok, if you missed it, you missed a good one because there are no replays when it's on TikTok, okay? You missed a good one where Javaya, T Speaks, Amber kind of led a discussion on niching. There was a lot of interesting perspectives inside of the chat. I did come on the last little bit and kind of shared my perspective and my point of view when it comes to the topic of, some people say niche, some people say niche, niching down, whichever way you choose to say it. This is so funny because I literally just had a conversation about this. I'm gonna come to that one. What is it? Wait, what is it? Just a response to nonsense. We're going to talk about that one, okay? I will address that one. But so whether you say niche or niche, it's a conversation that came up on yesterday, and we had a really great live. Now, I do have my own, like, I talked about it a little bit, but that was someone else's platform. So I just wanted to kind of, as one of the last lives that I do in this format for 2025, to kind of talk about this. And I have a different, not say perspective, but like the professor way of doing it. The she thinks she knows everything. I'm a researcher. I am, like, how I dive into things is a little bit different and a little bit, like, I'm gonna say unique, but just how I think about things. So I wanted to kind of just come on and just speak about it from my perspective. Okay. So that's what we're going to do today. All right. Now, if you don't know, like I said, yesterday there was a couple of back and forth, right? It I know for me, where this is not a new discussion. This is something that's talked about all the time. I'm even in what's called the morning meetup. It's a community that's was started by like David Shands. And although it's not always said like niching down and things of that nature, we've talked about that, in the morning meetup, and doing a whole lot of doing some of everything, and kind of like focusing in on one particular area and things of that nature. So like last night I had posed the question of, with the pressure to niche or not to niche, is that something that's like this big issue in every single industry, or is it specific industries? Is this something that major companies face, or is this something that smaller companies, startups, small businesses, is this like an Achilles heel for them, and not wanting to be boxed in, or finding the benefit in being boxed in? Is it, like I said, is it a broad business thing, or is it for a certain demographic? Now, I did some research in looking at larger companies, because that's often brought up when smaller businesses, solopreneurs, and startup entrepreneurs and things of that nature, when this topic comes up, there are companies that are mentioned, I guess, to justify not niching down and not being in a box, because of all the things that we see today that they do. But did you ever take the time to look at their origin story? How did it start? How did they get here? What were the decisions that they made? Were there any times where they stepped outside of what, as a whole, as a collective, people see as their niche? Have they ever stepped outside of that? And was it successful for them? Was it not successful for them? That is kind of how I approach things. And when I talk about different things, I want to bring in those examples to give different perspectives and kind of open up your mind a little bit and really start to think about these things. Okay. So that's what we are going to do today. Hello, Shayla. Hello, Danisha. How art thou? Sandra. Hello. Welcome. Um, LJ Walker. Incredible greetings. That's my city girl. Period. Hello, Tim. How are you? Incredible afternoon, evening. All right. So before we jump into this, I want to kind of go into this one, because only because this came up. This is kind of a little bit off topic. But one of the things that she said was, In one of your lives, you mentioned the white rugs that people use. What do you suggest we use? Now, why y'all want to start asking me questions about these things now? Because I'm kind of moving away from that part of it. And that's why I said I'm definitely going to answer this, because I don't know. I mean, outside of you being in one of our mentorship like programs, like creative business or like the creative lounge, things of that nature, where you'll be able to like ask these questions and get an answer to it, because we're kind of pivoting, because y'all like that word pivot, pivoting away from that. So for me, it's about what is the, like, you have to understand what the aesthetic is of your, what is it you're wanting to put out, right? If you put it on this furry white background, when it comes to being able to remove the background, like to be able to put it on different layouts if you're creating. So y'all know one of the things that we're focusing on, well, some of you guys may not know, one of the areas that we're focusing on is utilizing Canva for your business. I don't use Canva a lot just to create designs, to create them for like invitations or shirts or tumblers and yard signs. And, some people are using them for like their full on like stoles, or for the like large what's the I think archways and things of that nature. Like I don't necessarily use it for that, or for like standees and stuff. I don't use Canva for that. I have other programs that I use because I've been in this for a really long time. But those who are newer to it, or maybe found programs like Photoshop a little more difficult, or just simply wanting somewhere where they had a lot of elements and things, Canva is what most people are using. Now, like I said, I don't use it for that, but there are so many great features. And I am focusing on teaching people and training them on the features of Canva that can truly, truly benefit you in your business, in your personal life. If you have a 9 to 5, there are ways that you can go and show up as a superstar, like when needed, on your 9 to 5, and just make your life easier, depending on like what type of job you have. So I'm focusing a lot more on Canva. So you can go into Canva. I'm going to show you guys something that I did. Oh, wait, I forgot. I'm not on TikTok today. I don't have to hold up my phone. I can go over here to my Canva and show you on screen. Duh, Shakia. Actually, no, I still need to show you on the phone, because I don't know if the original photos are there, but I think they might be. I just have to go into uploads. So let's go share screen. Share screen. There we go. Present. Share screen. Entire screen. Boom. And add to stage. Add to stage. There we go. And there we go. Okay. So I'm going to come here. Let's go to uploads, and I'm just going to grab one of these images. Now, because I knew that I setups where I will simply just take the picture on a plain background. And it can be, in this case, it was 2 scrap pieces of foam board, right? I have foam board that I have put contact paper on. It's different wraps. I mean, in different designs. I have some that I've had prints printed out, whether I printed out myself and I've mounted it to it. If I went and outsourced prints and I chose different backgrounds, things of that nature, to where I can set it up and I can take good, clean pictures, and I can adjust my lighting. And if I need to remove the background, it's going to make it a whole lot easier to do that. And I'm going to actually tie this back into niching, since we are talking about niches, right? When it comes to taking photos, when you have, let's say, specific products, I don't want to necessarily put that into like niching, but if you do certain products, to know me is to know, like special sublimation, I like team small. I'm not really into the really large things. I mean, I was doing large installations and large like projects when I was an event planner and decorating events and an event stylist. But with a lot of the custom stuff, I like smaller items. So if you were someone where you decided, I want to be team small, I don't want to do the larger items, that niching down to that can help you when it comes to what type of background, what type of setup. You may only have enough room for a really small space to take your pictures. You may not have the space to have a nice full backdrop if you have a mannequin. But if I'm doing everything small, I can use smaller light boxes. I can do small setups like this to where even though it's just a little background, when I'm taking the picture of it, you see all this other stuff, but I wouldn't post that like that. But it just made it to where I can do a quick setup, get a picture, and then I can remove the background to where I can create something like this. Okay. So that's one of the reasons why I like to keep it really, really clean, right? If I'm going to remove it and I'm going to place it onto some sort of background. And I see your question here. What about the natural look of the photo instead of Canva and Photoshop? I'm going to tell you, there are not very many professional photographers or photographers who do photos for products where it's just natural. There's some type of editing going on. If they take it on a natural solid background so that they can either enhance it, they can easily change the color. It's about versatility and being able to use it in different ways. That little furry thing doesn't make it look good. You will be better off having a nice clean background. If you want to add some color, having either like I have light boxes, and I think I took it out of here. And one of the ones that I have, they have backdrops that look like tiled walls, or like I could do like a marble countertop. There's wood ones. There's like the light, like the bokeh effect on it. You can have textures like stone. You can have chalkboard, and also with it, it comes with like just solid colors and nothing else. I'm going to lean more to that side unless you are actually taking lifestyle shots and you want it to be outside. So I had football tumblers and I took them outside. I put them in my grass. I'm like down on the grass so that I get the angle. And because it's football, I want it to have the grass look. I know how to adjust my settings where it blurs out the background of like my yard, but I had it really kind of like facing my house. So again, that's still like in the background. It's like just the color of my house. It's just blurred out and it's focused in on the football. Y'all remember that like football glass that they had at like Dollar Tree? So it's focused in on that. I have it in the grass. I have a football next to it. So I am staging this out as a lifestyle shot. So depending on how you want things to look, if you are taking these pictures for your website, you want that to be cohesive. You want it to be in a way where even if you edit it out and you're making everything look the same, that front image, like those main images, can look cohesive and is not all over the place. That's something that they do professionally. You can go to pretty much any website and you're going to see how cohesive their main product images look. And then as you go through them, you're going to see lifestyle, you're going to see it in different settings. But that furry thing does nothing. There's no aesthetics to that. Is it flat? Is it too fluffy? Is it going to take away from the item that you are trying to showcase? What is it that, who are you trying, what are you taking the picture for? Is it for a website and it needs to be nice, clean, not distracting? Are you trying to take a picture for social media? Like you want to display it in a certain way. I still am going to recommend that you keep it nice and clean, because in order for you to really have a background that it all looks great, you're not supposed to take this really up close picture. You saw the one that I had, I'm far away. Now, if I wanted it to just be white, I can use Photoshop. This happens all the time in photography. They will take a picture, they have a background, and when you go to a more wide out shot, because that affects how your lighting comes in there, if it's going to be too dark, if it's going to be grainy, if it's going to be blurry, there's a science to taking pictures. So photographers will go and they will take a picture and it's on a solid background, and they still have to go into Photoshop, and you'll do like a content aware fill, or they're like, now they'll use like generative fill, and you will fill that out to where it just extends the edges of the background, or it extends the edges of normally they'll have like a drape, like a background like behind it, and it'll just extend that. So it's like I said, it's very rare that you are seeing pictures in a professional setting that have not been Photoshopped. They haven't been touched up. You should never really be taking your images straight from your camera roll and posting them to your social media or your website. So as far as like making it just natural, there isn't really an option for that. You should be touching up your photos in some way, shape, or form, or even videos. Or if you want to just kind of do like a reel, just kind of showing it, you want that to be just in the cleanest possible setup. The furry stuff, it doesn't help. It doesn't make it look luxurious. It doesn't make it look quality. You have to make sure that you are cleaning that, you are washing that. It doesn't look dingy. Once dust falls, because I mean, dust is just in the air, your skin particles, all of those things, it can affect it. And cameras will pick up on all of those things. It's going to be a lot harder to go into editing, whether it's on Canva, if it's on Photoshop, and edit out those little specks of dust and things of that nature. If something is on your hand, now it's on it, ink, or if you were someone that happens to have some type, you just went and kind of scratched your face and you went to go rearrange it. Now you have a makeup smudge on it. It's a lot harder to remove those imperfections on something that is like a furry texture, because you can't just smooth it out. Then it's going to look crazy. So you're never going to hear me recommend using any of that little furry stuff. To me, those are accent pieces. It's meant to be a rug. Someone's taking a Christmas photo and you want to have that, as just a accent piece, and it's a rug on the floor. It's something that's in the distance. It might be on a shelf, something might be sitting on top of it, but just to lay something flat, you're never, like, maybe if you have it like flat on a surface and there's a different background behind it and you have the element and it's from the bottom, I can maybe see that. But just laying something on top of that fur and just taking a picture, never, ever, 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 ever. But why would you not want to use Canva or Photoshop? Why would you not want to? You have to think about lighting. And, I'll show you one more example. What is it that you sell? So let's start there. What is it that you sell? And I'm going to go to a couple of my favorite places. She says, I agree, it needs to be cohesive. It's a no for me. Hey, hey, hey. And let's go back to, wait, hold on. All right, I think I made a mistake. Oh, no, here it is. Okay, wait. Let's go back to here, and let's get rid of you. Hide, and then here. Okay, tumblers and shirts. She says more realistic. Okay, so let's just go here for example. These are what's called lifestyle shots, right? They're going to, like, it's showing things like There is a full-on shoot. They're showing off the shoes. It might be like some Nike sweats, things of that nature. Let's go to, I'll just go to, well, you said tumblers and shirts. So when they have models, you have like lifestyle ones like this. I want to see, I think they do have some shirts that don't have models in them and it's just the shirt itself. So like each one of these is like a model. Let's go with so even with socks, it's clean backgrounds. You don't want anything that's going to be distracting. When you say natural, what are you taking this on? Do you just have it on your desk? Is it a brick background? Like you can get backgrounds. One of the companies, what is it called? They have it, is it Replica or something like that? And they have these printed backgrounds and it makes it to where you can take pictures of like smaller items on these like backgrounds where it's nice and clean and it's not distracting. Let me go to, let's go to Fenty. So even if we take a look at like the main pictures here, there's nothing behind it. It's nice and flat. There's nothing covering the bottom of it. Let's go into, let me see. I'll just go into this one. So this, if you notice, like when I went over it, it flashed to a different image. But a lot of times they will have a main image and they have it that way to where when you're looking at that page, it is nice and cohesive. And it's just a solid flat, like they might put that on a flat background and they can take this picture in a specific angle to where you're not even going to see what's behind it, because it's about the angles that you take pictures at. You can go and take a picture on your dining room table. If there's nothing behind it, or you're going to take it in a certain angle where you're not going to see that, taking pictures is about how far away are you up on it, how close are you to it, and that determines how much you see in the background. If you have a specific niche, then it's like you can make your background conducive to that niche. So this is another area where having a niche can help you even when it comes to taking pictures. There's a certain aesthetic that they will look for when they're looking at your images. If you watch a lot of there's some content creators that create like mini commercials, and when you're looking at that, it's normally black backgrounds or something really, really clean, and you're getting the visuals based off of how they edit the video. If it's, they speed something up, they slow it down, they're going to like hit something to make something splash. Nothing is as it seems. Like, so I know you're saying like, how do you just make it natural? Even the things that you are seeing every single day in promos, those are not the natural looks of it. And I really think like, even with this one, with how I'm looking at it right here, it might be where it did have the like some other stuff in the background, and they took this into Photoshop and they did a content aware fill, or they used a clone tool, they used some type of blending mode to where now this just like one clean surface. We don't really know how it's taken, but it speaks to their professionalism, where you're going to look at it and you don't know if this was taken this way. And sometimes when you don't dive into that part of business or different areas like photography, you look at something and just think that they got the perfect shot automatically. What I'm saying to you is, Do not be fooled. Everything that you see, there is no such thing as, oh, I just want to take this natural shot and it's just, everything is edited. Even when you go and you might see a light flare or something, there are element packs where it's going to add a splash. When you go and you look at like a can of soda being open and you see this like extravagant, like, the spray mist, they ain't just capture that. They either sprayed something on it or they use an element pack and use blend modes like multiply or screen, depending on how it was set up. They're using that. When it comes to fire, there's normally some sort of enhancement to that. Smoke, there's enhancements to it. Lighting, you see a lightning bolt, there's enhancements to it where they're going to add extra glow to that. Nothing is as you see it. So if you're trying to match the aesthetics of things that you see online and like, well, what can I do just to take this picture? You're never going to be satisfied. You're asking this question because you have to see something a little bit off in how you're doing it now. And it's because you're looking at that as being perfection, just straight taking it. And it's just natural and, without any editing. They're editing everything. Okay, blinds being open doesn't necessarily help you because you can create shadows. There are certain places and certain ways that you're supposed to take pictures. If you take a picture, if you have your phone and you have it facing towards a window, it's going to make your image dark. If you only have one window in the room and it's a smaller window, it's not a really big bay window, that's going to affect lighting as it comes in. You're going to end up with a really bright side and a heavy shadow on the other. There is no such thing as a perfect photo. Some editing takes place. Unless you have a full studio and you are going to have lighting from multiple angles, not just one angle. I really despise when people say get a ring light. Ring lights are great for if you're doing something like face wise. So whether you are going to be on camera, if maybe someone's taking a still photo, because your face can be in the center of that and it's illuminating your face all the way around. But if you're going to take a full shot of someone, having a single ring light is going to cause harsh shadows, and it's going to have like really dark shadows and harsh lighting on certain areas because that cannot illuminate everything, which is why they have diffusers and soft boxes and different things coming in to take these pictures. So when you're taking them on your phone or even like a camera, you still have to know the settings. You have to know how to adjust your aperture. You have to know how to adjust your ISO. Sometimes you have to adjust your white balance. There are tricks where you take a white sheet of paper, you'll put it to it so it picks up on that. And then when you pull it out, that's what nothing is natural. Nothing is natural. Natural lighting is not natural for most. They do that to get the best starting point, but they're going to go in there and edit it. They're going to go edit it. As a photographer, when it's natural lighting, you can't control what the sun does. If you're not sitting there looking at the clouds and how many clouds are out there, at one point it's going to be super, super bright. And the moment that cloud comes and provides some blockage to the sun, now your whole setting is messed up. We have to go in and now redo our manual settings, or you take the shot, you go into Lightroom and you adjust that lighting so that it matches the previous shot. Nothing comes straight from the camera roll. Nothing comes straight from the camera roll. Okay, I promise you. Even what you consider to be realistic is modified in some way, shape, or form. Okay, so hopefully that helps. Okay, go ahead, send it to me because my phone is here. All right, so let's talk about niching while you bring that. It'll probably tie back in. So Sandra said, she's like, I use a mix of programs. She's like, I'm going to use what works best for me. Does that mean that you use the little furry thingamajiggies? And as I said, if that works for you, but for me, whenever people come to me and ask me what I recommend, I'm not saying that you have to follow suit. But if you're asking, would I recommend this? My answer is going to be no. I'm going to have alternatives. But if you feel like for your business it works, then you do that. But you have to know that when you ask someone, they may have a difference of opinion. You can either accept that and roll with it, maybe contemplate on it, apply it, or you can just be like, that doesn't work for me. So for me, I despise those little furry things. They don't add anything to it. There's nothing luxurious about it and nothing quality about it. Solid backgrounds show off the work. And I like that. I feel like when people use the furry thing and like anything like that, you're trying to distract from maybe some imperfections on whatever it is that you are trying to showcase. That's just me. Okay, so Sandra says, what is niching? Can you niche more than one product, process, or just one? Just asking. I thought what it is, just a thought. Okay, so this is one of the things that I said yesterday. There is no one side to like niching. So the example that I gave yesterday on the live is you can have what is the thing called? Like weddings, right? You want to do everything for weddings. Whether you are someone that creates customized items or from someone who was in the event space, there are some people, they don't do baby showers. They don't do retirement parties. They won't do conferences and, where that's in their skill set to do those things. They will only do weddings. And then you have some event planners, they're like, I'm not touching weddings with a 10-foot pole. Some people will say, well, shoot, if they want to pay you, why would you turn down that money? Because that is not my wheelhouse. If I'm trying to maximize my business, great businesses have repeatable systems. Like you can arrange it differently, but you might use the exact same linen. You might use the exact same vases for the florals. Now the florals end up being different because people have different colors, but the foundation and the basic things can remain the same and it can be repeatable. So if you're doing, let's say in the creative space, because that's the audience that I'm talking to today, for one of the last times in my career, talking to creatives, you can go and make all the things. You have a stash, you have an inventory of tumblers, of mugs, you have robes, you have shirts, you have totes, you have keychains, you have can coolers, you have a bunch of paper craft type stuff, all of the card stock. But it doesn't mean that you have to go and put all of these different designs. Today, I'm working with, businesses, and I want to put your business logo on this. And then I'm going to put birthdays on this. Then I'm going to add pictures to it. Some people, their niche is weddings. They're not limiting themselves to just a t-shirt that says bride. They're able to do a bunch of things within that, but so that they market themselves properly, so that they don't have a bunch of unnecessary inventory that might not get used. Everything is going to be around weddings. When it comes to choosing fonts, it makes it easier to choose fonts because there's going to be some standard ones, whether it's like elegant, if it's modern, if it's whimsical, if it's rustic. How you set it up is going to still be the same. Like if it's a bride and groom's name, there are certain rules to it, right? Like knowing whether the bride as a fiance, her name goes first versus the bride versus the groom going first. Whereas once they're married, it's the husband and then the wife. These things. You don't have to think about these things because they are standards within that industry. Does that make sense? So weddings can be your niche for all of your things sublimation. I want to sublimate everything. Now, there's this whole thing of DTF. Well, what if they don't want a polyester shirt or they don't want a polyester tote? It's something that sublimation can. If you are successful in your business and you are marketing correctly and you are getting constant clientele for these things, it doesn't matter if you have to go, like, you don't have to go outside of that. If I don't have multiple heat presses, the person doesn't have the space, the capacity for multiple heat presses, there's a different temperature. There's a different time for sublimation and DTF. So now I either have to do all my sublimation things, let my heat press cool down to the optimal temperature. I have to change my pressure, do all these things to be able to do DTF. Now it's too many moving parts. It's things that's slowing me down. Then some people might say, well, you can go and you can do something else. But if I want to be in a rhythm, I want to take care of all of these things. Me switching to something like DTF, that can throw off the process. Then it's like, okay, now I got to switch back to sublimation. I have to wait for this to get back up. Well, what if I forgot? Oh, shoot. Like, see, for me, I have a Hotronics. This is where the type of equipment that you have comes into play. Because if you have one that's just kind of analog and is just showing the temperature, you may not really pay attention to that. Whereas mine, it says sublimation, DTF prints, plastisol transfers, rhinestone transfers, acrylic. So if I look down at my heat press and it says plastisol transfers, I know, okay, I cannot pull this down because now I have sublimation and now it's not going to fully transfer. Niching down can eliminate a lot of issues for you as well, because if you're used to doing something and your equipment can stay on one consistent setting, then it's less likely that you're going to have issues. Am I making sense? So you can do more than one thing. I think some people are confusing doing multiple products with like a certain, like when it comes to like niching. Someone can do prints. So my girl Javaya, she wants to do prints. Her printer don't care what comes out of it. The customer is going to go and send their ready to print items to Infinite Print Solutions. She just has to print. Now, she can have different medias. I can print to paper. I can print to thick vinyl. I can print to thin vinyl. If she wanted to, she could even still print out, like put the vinyl for shirts and things, put that inside the printer and be able to print that out as well. It's just printing. She's not limited to a certain industry. Those prints then can be used for different things. Okay, am I going to print to vinyl banner material? Then I just have to hem it. Am I doing backdrops? Now it's like, am I the type of company where I sew my hem for my pocket holes? And then there are some where they just put a hem tape on it. Some people use the adhesive. Some people use the iron-on ones, and they're going to put it on there. They're going to press it. That gives different quality. So for some, their niche or what they do might be higher end. You may not be able to afford me because I'm going to do a sewn pocket on mine. Whereas somebody that's just doing a double-sided tape, they take that off, put it down, zoom, boom, they're done. But if I have to go and I have to hem this and I have to sew it so that it's a lot stronger, it's meant to be more durable, I can't charge you the same thing. You have some companies who are all print shops. Well, I specialize in disposable items, something that's going to be really quick. The price point is going to be really low. We can have the same exact file that we are printing, be able to print the same exact sizes, but I'm going to do things that's maybe not meant for outdoors because I don't have the space to store the material that's meant for outdoors. I don't have, there's certain banner materials for that. Or I don't have the space to be able to properly hem this to where if it's in inclement weather, the wind is blowing, it's not going to come apart. But then there are some that's like, we specialize in outdoor installations. They can have the exact same printers, but their niche is outdoor. They study what is needed for outdoor. If it needs to be coated for, like, it needs to have a UV coating, if it needs to be double stitched, if it needs to be triple stitched, does it have to have a back stitch to it because of how the installation will be? So they are going to study what is required for this type of installation. And I'm going to have my equipment that's made for this. If I spent all of this money on this equipment for durable installations, why in the hell would I go and do something that is disposable, or somebody that wants just something simple for indoor, they're expecting it to be a lower cost? Why would I do that? So it's not about limiting what you do necessarily. Once you have the demand for it, and once you have the capacity for it, you can do multiple things, but you can break that down. You can break it down to where I want to provide affordable things. So anything that I'm going to provide, I'm not going to do high end. You have high end, like let's say like apparel or handbag companies. They have different models of handbag. They're not just in totes or clutches. They have all types of, but guess what? Their product, like what their thing is based off of quality. We're not making anything that we can slap a $200 price tag on. Everything that we make, everything that we do, the products that we source, it is going to be where someone is going to see value in it. And by looking at it, or even if you feel like it's not worth it, somebody feels like the care that was put into this, the material that was put into this, the way that it's double stitched, the way that it's sewn, the way that it's hand dyed, they're going to feel like this is worth me paying $5,000 for. This is worth me paying $200,000 for. That's their, you guys like to say, that is their niche, is high end bags. They can do multiple things. Why would I go just because somebody says, well, I can't afford that? Because that was the whole thing, is I'm gonna give the people what every time I hear people talk about niches, well, if you can give the people what they want, they're gonna come to me. They say they want this, I'm gonna provide it. Why would I send someone else? Because it's not what you do, and that's okay. People may not like this, but I find that about 60% of the time, the people who will say about, I don't want to be in a box, or I want to be able to provide more things, they normally add these things when something isn't working. They feel like they need to add something in order to reach a certain revenue goal. Sales have slowed down. And instead of focusing on, well, what am I not doing marketing wise? What am I not doing to reach more people? What am I not doing to optimize my reach and to convert more? They're not focusing on that. They don't think that their marketing is an issue. They don't think that their website is an issue. They don't think that their follow-up and their follow-through and what the ordering process is. Okay, so I have to jump through hoops to be able to order this. So this is why your sales have slowed down. Are you slow to respond? Is that why you have horrible communication? These can be the reasons why your sales are slowing down. But in your mind, it's, oh, well, it's because I need to add more things. You add the things and you might be attracting new clientele, and it's going to be, you might be up. But when that same you who does not have systems in place, when that part kicks in, that same product that was blowing up for you, or the industry changes, that's going to falter as well. Then where does that leave your business? Now you're adding something new. I would say a good, I was probably more than 50% of the people who do a whole lot. Like I have classes and I ask questions, right? They have these things. It's like, I know that I'm making money. Like I have orders, but where's my money going? If any of you have ever, like, where did this money go? Like I had all these sales, I was busy. Where did the money go? It's when you don't have a niche or a niche and you were buying all of these other things that you needed for one order because one person asked you for it. There was no demand for it. One or two people asked you for it. You went out and you got, I'll say, like, for me, what's that stuff called? Like the little mesh when people were making like the wreaths and stuff like that. Oh, I had all this stuff. I did one thinking that people will love it. Now I have all this stuff and it ended up in the garbage. It was money wasted. You might go and now you're going to like something that you have to buy in bulk. Now you're not selling it. Now it's a waste. You're not making money on it. Yes, you may have, like your order was enough and you made $300 off this order. So you go and you buy this thing. It was only $200. So in your mind, well, I still have $100 off of this, but you only use $10 from that. Now, what about the other $190? You still need to make money off of that. Like that should be, if you purchase for $200 in business, that needs to make you 3 to 4 times the amount that you paid for it. So if it's just sitting there, that is money wasted. Niching down allows you to multi-purpose things where things are not sitting in your craft room. They're not sitting hidden, wasting, like being a waste of money. That's another reason why some people choose to niche down, because I don't want to keep wasting money. I'm buying things that I'm not using. There's no return on it. I'm not seeing a profit on it. Yes, I had the money to purchase it, but is it bringing me any profit? In business, it is profit. If you don't have profit, you don't have a business. You are in the negative. You're in the negative. All right, let me see what you sent me. All right, so you sent it to me. Do you want me to show this or no? Because I can break down a lot of things on here. The very things that I've mentioned, I can point them out. So do you want me to show it to point it out or just say it to point them out? Let me know. All right, so okay, but I don't, oh, she says, I do, but I don't lay my items flat on a rug nor a background. Let's see. She says, I need this for 2026. Okay, so I'm going to bring up some information, right? So that, I'm going to come back to you whenever you respond to it. Let me know if you want to put it on there. So with my research, because people often bring up different companies. One of the first ones I want to kind of mention will be like a general store, like a Walmart, a Target, even a department store. Like, well, here we have like, I was about to say Burdines, but we ain't had Burdines here, but I'm a Florida girl and I just think about Pembroke Pines and I always think Burdines, but like now that's like a Macy's or Sears or a Bloomingdale's. I'm trying to think all the ones that's like here, whatever. They have different things. They have shirts in there. They have shoes. They have pants. They have jewelry. They have perfume, but it's different departments. There's different people running these. And those companies, they have purchasers that will go out, buyers that will go out and they will purchase these things. These are from other brands. Those brands have certain niches or certain products that they will produce and they are sold. All of these department stores are distributors. You guys are not distributors. You are the manufacturing company. You are the worker bees. So you have to stop comparing yourself to companies that are distributors. Walmart is a distributor of all of these other brands. When there is a return, Walmart does not care because they can send it back or send an invoice and it is a return to the actual manufacturer. Or they're set up, they understand their taxes, they have the right people in place, and they're going to go and this is spoilage, this is a write-off, so where it's not going to count against them when it comes to their taxes. Like there are certain things that happen in major businesses that as smaller businesses because you're not getting in the right rooms, you're not getting the proper education, you are not asking the right questions, you're not getting under someone who, even if you don't ask the question, they're going to give you the information anyway. In your mind, you're like, this ain't what I came for, this ain't what I need. But this ain't what I wanted, but it's what you need because you don't know about taxes. Half of y'all are not doing your taxes properly. You go and you're trying to get stuff like want me to pay you in cash or pay you in cash out because you're trying to avoid those transaction fees that is trackable, and they're going to report that to the IRS because they're like, look, I know $30 billion came through our system, and there is tracking that we got $30 billion but from Visa or from MasterCard or whatever. But hey, Uncle Sam, don't tax me on that because this wasn't all my money. It just came through here. I sent them coins to homegirl, homeboy over there. Go get them for your taxes. You can't tax me. Here's what you can tax me on. These are the fees that we charge them, and this all the money that we made. But then we also have this staff and this staff and this staff. So at the end of the day, the only thing that we had profit was this. So tax me on this part of it, not the 30 billion that came through. We got a good, cool 300 mil over here that you need to tax me on. But most small businesses, and I can't speak for other industry, other cultures, but I know what I see in the African American community when it comes to business owners, because you focus on just the item, just the sales, and not the business. There are a lot of things that you are missing in business because you don't focus on marketing. You don't have a real marketing strategy. You don't see the benefit of niching down and how that's going to help you when you market. Who are you talking to? How do you attract the right client, the right clientele, the right customers? How do you attract them? It's your marketing. If sales are slow, what can you do with marketing? There are other things in your business that's affecting your business more so than like niching or not having a niche and providing and doing everything. When it comes to your pricing, when you have a specific niche, it helps you understand your pricing. I am in groups all the time, and that's one of the top 5 things. Y'all don't know how to price. You don't know how to price because you are all over the place. All of the supplies that you are purchasing, they have different price points. You can't buy anything in bulk because you either don't have the money for it, you don't have the space for it. So when it comes to pricing and you're buying things retail, you got things here, you got things there, and this is also complicated, and you don't understand my stress, and this is just so hard because it's because you don't have a focus. You don't have a real business model. You don't have a niche that's going to help you be organized, that's going to help you determine the right systems that you need, especially as a startup. No one is saying that you have to be in a box for for the entire existence of your business. But while you're trying to figure it out, when you're adding all these new things, that's a new thing that you have to learn. It ain't just, and to perfect it to where you can sell it. But if you are somebody where I just learned how to do it, and as soon as I learn how to do it, I'm going to sell it. When you have your little, people have like the messed up edges, the glue comes off. I'm in groups where they're like, oh my God, what do I do? My client said that they washed it and the print came off. I have never, ever, 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 ever had a customer tell me that some vinyl came off. Now, when it did, I will say, I'm not saying I've ever had that because it happened to me. I did not know what could be layered and what can't. I tried it out on myself, made some really, really cute shirts when MJ was running track, and it was metallic and regular. I was real cute. It stuck to it. I was real cute at the game, right? My little pink, it was a breast cancer awareness. I had my pink shirt. It had a metallic pink and it had glitter on top. Baby, I washed it, and all of that top layer fell off. Okay, well, I now know, baby, I can't do that. I will never sell someone something like that. But most crafters, the moment they learn how to do something, they do not perfect it. They are slapping a price tag on it. Everything that you learn does not have to be monetized. That is a crafter issue. I know y'all don't like it when I talk about crafters. I don't use that term. I don't call myself a crafter. That's craft behavior where everything that you learn how to do, you want to monetize it. Had beautiful balloons for my son's prom when he went to prom for the 8th grade. You know how many people inquired about me doing balloons for them? Absolutely the hell not. It is a skill that I have. I will use it for my family. I am not trying to monetize it. I don't chase money like that because I have businesses that generate income where I don't have to like scrounge for certain things. Now, if you need a quick little money grab, you got something coming up, you don't want to touch your main money, go ahead. You know that thing, you learned it, do it. I'm never against something being a lead magnet, something being, hey, a quick money grab, but it does not need to be a part of your full business system and model. Make sense? Nothing is perfect. It is perfected. Amen. So she says, you are speaking to me right now. I was in so many craft groups, paid for classes and brought stuff and haven't made anything. So that's money wasted. It's money wasted. If it has not given you a return, and by return, I don't mean just an even exchange. If you don't have profit from it, it is a waste. It is a waste. Oh, I forget Facebook over here. Okay, so I have some examples, right? We're gonna go up, we're gonna go up, we're gonna go up. All right. When you guys think of Colgate, right? Colgate is known for selling what? What do you think of when you hear the brand Colgate? What do you think of when you hear the brand Colgate? Toothpaste, 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 toothpaste. What if I told you the company Colgate tried to sell frozen dinners? Would that make sense for Colgate to sell frozen dinners? Colgate can have toothpaste, mouthwash, toothbrushes, floss, water picks, tongue scrapers, anything with oral care. Why in the hell would they sell frozen dinners? Okay, the company Bic. What do you think of when you think of the company Bic? Okay, someone said pens. Okay, lighters. Okay, pens and pencils. Whiteout. Um, so what if I told you? So they also sell like disposable things. So there are big razors. Now I would go into how that came about because what most people know them for would be like the stationary items and things like the whiteout, the pens, the pencils. What if I told you, like, because these are all like disposable things, like they run out. These are not like, a pen runs out, you have to replace it. So disposable things. What if I told you Bic tried to sell disposable underwear? Would you feel like that matches up with their brand, selling disposable underwear? Do y'all know what Smith and Wesson is? What's Smith and Wesson? What's Smith and Wesson? Okay, someone put over there. Pew pews, right? Pew pews, right? Pew pews. Would you expect Smith and Wesson to sell mountain bikes? All right. What about lifesavers? When you think of lifesavers, what do you think of when you think of lifesavers? You hear the name lifesavers, the first thing that comes to your mind is what? Candy. Okay. Do you think a soda line around candy flavors would be successful? Because that's what they did, right? Some people would think, oh, well, it's within their niche. Like they're just taking this and they're making sodas that's the same flavor as the candy. Oh, if they love the candy, they're going to have to love the sodas taste like the candy. Absolutely the hell not. They tried it. It did not work. It was brand confusion. So now I want you to think about this. And this is a question that I posed probably a year ago. The same way that I named off these companies, these brands, you guys were able to tell me what you like. What's the first thing comes to mind? Like, what is their niche? What is it that they sell? What is it they do? Can people say the same thing for you, where it's kind of almost like a one-liner? If I say Nike, what do you think of when I say Nike? Fenty was one where even for them, there's Fenty Beauty, there's Fenty, and it's Savage. Those are still not the same. It has like the Fenty in it because of her last name, but it's not the same brand. Like she has separate websites for those. That website is niched down to beauty items. It's not just lipstick, it's not lip gloss. She has different skincare, she has serum, but it's all beauty. And it's separate from her Fenty, her Savage Fenty, the the undergarments and things of that nature. Then you have so I'm going to go back over here to so her Fenty Beauty has makeup, skincare, there's hair products, there's even fragrances. But look at when she rolled those out. They all didn't come out at one time. She rolled those out. I'm going to go to the regular Fenty website. Oh, not beauty. Hey, not that one. Go back. I didn't tell you to go to beauty. You go to the top and you're seeing bras, panties, sports bras. Then she has some loungewear. She has boxers for men. She has hold on, let me go to, I hate the fact that their thing is like membership. That drives me crazy. Um She has some onesies, some lingeries. There's no couture, there's no sleep. But what's on this site is not the beauty, it's niching. Major companies do that all the time so that people know what to expect when they come to your website. So to go and say, well, I can have this business where I can do apparel, I can do a coffee shop. I can do legit. I can have a trucking company. The other problem with that is taxes. And those who want to do all these different things that don't relate at all, and you're like, I can do all these things, that lets me know you don't do your taxes properly, because there is a code that tells them what type of business you have. So when it comes to figuring out when you put on your taxes, what is necessary, and oh god, what's what I'm looking for? But the things that you can actually write off without it triggering an audit, when you go and you say you have a hair company and you are registering your business. Also, when you trademark, there's a bunch of different classes when it comes to that. You need to be able to choose the right one or pay a whole lot of money for all these classes. But you go and you have a company that you were doing hair. Now you don't met you a new little boo thing. He's like, okay, I like you got bit by the entrepreneur bug or whatever. I want to go and I want to have like a tow truck company. I want to have some type of like they want to go and they want to haul. He got his CDL. He don't got with you, and you're into entrepreneurship. Oh, we can do this together. You have that, whatever, and I'm gonna put my trucking business. We're gonna have it all under one business. Them codes don't match. So when they go and you're putting in your taxes and it's like, okay, well, your business say you do hair. Why are you trying to write off oil? Why are you trying to write off chains? Why is there tires on this? Your happy-go-lucky behind gonna get a nice little audit, okay? Niching down helps you with taxes as well. It helps you avoid being on Uncle Sam's radar for a nice little audit that you ain't got receipts for. In business, you have to be defined for something. And when you see companies that have all of these different arms to it, they also have different businesses and setups because of the finances for it and how they what's I'm looking for? How they log items is not what I'm looking for. How they it's what I'm looking for is skipping me. How they record. There we go. Their records, how they record different things depends on their niche. I posed this question when I was on the live. Does anyone else feel like this is just a topic or a major concern for small businesses? I really wanted to say craft business, but I didn't want to offend people on their platform, but this is my ish. So I'm like, for me, it's a lot of the creators, it's a lot of the crafters, it's a lot of the handmade people who are hand making things, because you can't see past constantly making things yourself. You feel like you should not be in a box. If your hands can touch it and do it, you want to do it. I'm not that person, because I'm like, I'm all over the place, I might have the skills to do it, but when I can't do it anymore, how many people will I have to hire that to know all of these different skills? Do I have the capacity? Do I have the infrastructure? Do I have the space to have multiple people in there? Because you guys are not thinking about business past a side hustle. And I'm not saying, and please understand, I am not saying that there is anything wrong with the side hustle. Those who are in my creative business program or who have done any type of business program with me know that I do not knock side hustles. They can still make you money, but you're not doing too much in it. It doesn't require as much structure to it. A lot of you guys have side hustles. Any way that you can get money, you chasing the bag, you don't have a system, you don't have a business, you don't have anything that is repeatable. You have a hustle. There's nothing wrong with it. But you will quickly learn when you are trying to build a sustainable business, that hustle mentality, that doing everything mentality will burn you out. Some of you guys know, some of you don't know. I had a heart attack 2 years ago. Stress, burnout, trying to do too many things. I had no underlying health conditions, no high blood pressure, no high cholesterol, no diabetes, no pre-diabetes. The only thing for me was I lack vitamin D because I barely go outside. I'm always inside of this damn desk. I don't do a whole lot of things like outside. And of course, my iron has always been just ridiculous. But I had like all the major things that people have, and it's like, okay, if you don't correct this, you're gonna have a heart attack, you're gonna have a stroke, you're gonna have these things. Never, ever, 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 ever was this on the radar for my doctors. When I was having the heart attack, my EKG was normal. It was normal. And it took someone to say, you know what? She looks like she's in a lot of pain. Let's just run her troponin levels. And they came back elevated. When they ran it again, they were still rising. That let them know that I was having a cardiac event. Okay. Heart attack. End up staying in there. The cardiologist says, we're looking at this, the way your troponin levels were, but then with your lab work, even then, they took my cholesterol level there. It still was not elevated. My cholesterol labs came back. It was not elevated at all. At all. When I came in there, they checked it. I'm in pain. And because I'm hysterical, like my blood pressure is up, but like when I go in, my blood pressure is not elevated. I had a 100% blockage in my right coronary artery. Not 100%. It was completely blocked. My heart started creating paths to still, pump blood, and started creating all of these little small paths and things like that. But my right coronary artery, 100% blocked. I have 2 stents in my right coronary artery. And every time I talk to my cardiologist, it was just stress. It was trying to do too much, trying to juggle all of these things. Whether you know it or not, it takes a certain, every one of those creative things that you do taps into a different part of your brain. The wave paths to be able, and the muscle memory and the memory to be able to do these things, to remember this, to keep up with someone's order. You have to run here to do this, do that, whatever. The things that you have to order, keeping up with all of that will take a toll on your body. You don't see it now. Some of y'all are real young. I don't know if y'all my age. I am 44, okay? So if you are somebody and you're like, I don't want to niche down, and you in that 20 age, that 30 age range, baby, I can tell you when you hit them 40s, them late 30s, it's going to be different for you because your body's not going to be able to handle the constant moving back and forth, doing all these things to where you're not getting sleep because you feel like every piece of money you want to be able to get into the bag is you staying up late. You getting to the bag is sacrificing sleep. It's sacrificing time with your family. It's sacrificing just having a life when you're trying to do so many different things. You're doing so many things, you can't afford to buy things in bulk. So what do? You end up wasting time, energy, gas, riding around, searching all of the Dollar Trees, searching all of the Walmarts, trying to find these things because you can't buy them in bulk where it's a repeatable system. You are searching every time somebody asks you for something, you going out and you're searching for it. you are going to burn yourself out until you have the demand for it, which will then mean you are making the money and you can pay for help. Stop comparing yourself to companies that have regional managers, local, like regional managers, store managers, and they got 3, 4 of those because somebody works overnight, somebody works in the morning, somebody works in the afternoon, somebody works in the evening. Then they got department managers or supervisor on top of that. Then they got the actual stockers and the workers and to do all this. And then they got cashiers. Then they got janitors. They got the butcher. They have a full infrastructure. How are you comparing yourself saying they do all of these things and they have a full infrastructure and it's just you? Or you may have a team of one person and all they know how to do is to glue some stuff. They're not, and that's just the people in the store. What about the workers who handles accounting? What about HR? What about the person that handles like in the company as a whole, their marketing? That they have a whole marketing team. It ain't just one person that's doing the marketing, but you think you can handle all your business things and doing all. It's because you are a crafter. It's because you are a hustler. You have a side hustle. If no one told you, I'm here to tell you, business does not operate that way. Business does not operate that way. No, that's not what y'all want to hear. But this is why people talk about niching down, limiting what they do. Yes, we have the ability to do so much, but why should I? If I can put my efforts into one or two things, making me the same amount of money because I put in proper systems. I understand how to market. I understand how to take pictures. I understand how to do promo. I understand how to talk to my ideal audience. I understand how to promote the value of what I do to where they are paying for it. What do I need all these other things for to stress myself out on? If I want to free up time, I don't want to keep doing all these things. For some people, money isn't everything. What is the purpose? What is the point of making all this money if you can't even enjoy it? You can't go on a trip and take your family out, hell, for even a movie because you got I'm chasing the bag. I'm gonna make that money. I got to fulfill these orders. This person want this person want that. I'm going to do it all. What's the quality of life that you want? Why are you in a rush to make this money without systems? Ask yourself that. Ask people. I'm going to put this out there again. Go onto your page and whatever it is, pick one of the things. If you somebody that got like 30,000 different things that you do, choose something and say, hey, where can I get a shirt from, a tumbler from? Hey, does anybody know somebody that designs obituaries, that print out obituaries? Does anybody know somebody that prints out banners? Do you know only a handful of people who actually did that had people say, don't you do that? Because they knew them for it. But the majority of the people, they had friends, family, people that had been on their timeline forever and a day, recommending other people, tagging other people on their post. Test it out and see. Then you're going to see if you need to niche down. Because if people don't know you for anything, how successful are you really? If somebody said, hey, where do I go learn silhouette from? Where y'all gonna send them at? If somebody asks about sublimation, where could you send them at? Somebody goes and says, people like, oh, I need a business coach. I'm in groups to where my name pop up. I'm getting tagged. And I go look at what the question was. I say, oh, okay. They know what your girl do. How can people say that about you? What are people recommending you for? If you ask 10 people, what is it that I sell? And 7 of them don't at least have the same thing on their list, you are doing something wrong. Ask 10 people. You can do it right now. You can send a mass text. Quick question. Do you actually know what all I sell, or what do I sell? And ask them and see if they come back and say the same thing. Is everything different? I don't know. Or they say some of everything. So now when somebody's looking for a referral for it, they may not think of you because it's like, okay, just some. Well, I don't know. Does she really do this? I don't know if she do that. I know she may do this, but I don't really know. So they might recommend somebody that they know does that particular thing. It'll be an eye opener if you start to ask people questions. Y'all are afraid to ask questions. But once you start to ask people questions about your own business, it exposes a lot. It exposes a lot. She says, I remember you having us do this last year, and I had a few recommend somebody else, and I had someone asking, and had some asking, don't you make shirts? I appreciate you sharing your journey. I also appreciate this information. Truly, I do. This is coming from a person with 8 machines or more and haven't perfected one. I need a niche. Your name says vinyl. Your name says Vines Vinyl. What machines do you have? With a name like Vines Vinyl. And sometimes if you want to be able to explore other stuff, some of y'all need to change y'all names. Stop being afraid to change y'all names. I don't know who in the heck told y'all that you can't rebrand. You know how many times my name has changed and people still find me? Because they just know me. They know the quality of my work. My number has not changed. Now, their business name don't change a couple times, but they still know how to contact me. What machines do you have? Someone says, Shakia, you're going to send them to me. Hey, clock it, clock it, clock it. All right, hold on. Let me see here. Oh, yeah, I was just answering some of those questions. But yeah, so I'm going to, was one more on here that I want to kind of go through. I thought this one was really, 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 really interesting. Hold on. McDonald's, right? McDonald's tried out something called the Arch Deluxe. Most people would think that falls within their niche because it's a burger, right? So how many of you would agree that you would think that McDonald's doing something called Arch Deluxe, it's a burger, that should work well for them? It falls within their niche because you see McDonald's as being somewhere that sells burgers. Do you think that should fit if they had something called an Arch Burger? What is your expectation when you go to McDonald's? What's one thing that frustrates you? Like if it happens when you go to somewhere like McDonald's or Burger King, what's the most frustrating thing ever when you go to places like that? Um, you would need more info. Why need more info on what? It's a burger, right? People say that McDonald's, they sell burgers. So if you had a burger, would that not, if it's some sort of burger, would we not think that fits within their niche? Is just selling a burger. So someone says yes. But what is your expectation when you go to somewhere like McDonald's? And what will be the thing that frustrates you the most if you go to McDonald's or any type of fast food restaurant? So the first thing you expect when you go there, your expectation is customer service. Look, I'll be honest, I don't ever expect no good customer service at a place like McDonald's. I'm just gonna say. So incomplete or wrong orders, uh someone looking at the menu like it's new, right? So if something is incomplete or if it's a wrong order, that makes your time at that window what? Someone's looking at the menu like it's new, is going to cause what? You to spend more time in that line, right? Is that the expectation of going to somewhere like McDonald's, whether you are in the drive-through or if you're at the actual counter? Is your expectations for it to take the same amount of time as if you were to go to a restaurant where you're sitting down? It's going to make the time longer, right? Speedy service, because the menu stays the same. Even though the menu stays the same, they're probably trying to figure out, well, what do I have a taste for today? They should have figured out before. But somewhere like McDonald's, their whole thing is fast food. They are called fast food restaurants. You go there, you are expecting to order, pull up, pay for it, and be at the next window. And this whole transaction should definitely be taking less than 5 minutes, right? That is the expectation. Would you want to go to McDonald's and pay just for a burger, let's say a burger, $10, not for a full meal, but $10 at McDonald's for just one single burger? Not the Grinch meal with the socks and the salt and the this and the that. One burger, $10. Would you expect to go to somewhere like McDonald's and spend $10 on a burger? Someone says no. Why not? Now, I know y'all probably feel like them prices are not cheap relative to where they were before and how the economy is, but they are cheaper than going to a Five Guys or going to a Chili's and purchasing a burger or what other place, like I'm trying, because that's where I kind of go. I love Chili's burgers. Or going to does Longhorn have it? I know BJ's has burgers, Fuddruckers, their burgers are pretty pricey. But like any other place, like where you're gonna go there, one of our other favorite places, I like Denny's because I like the breakfast stuff. When my child wants a burger at Denny's, I look at him like he's lost his ever-loving mind. Because, sir, you could have said that when we passed by McDonald's, Wendy's, or Burger King. I know you lying. You think I'm finna be in here paying $7, $8 for a burger when we pass by McDonald's, Wendy's, and Burger King. You have lost you better pick something else off this menu. So when they had this Arch Burger, McDonald's is known for a few things: fast food, inexpensive food. Like, so, compared to other places, it can be kid friendly, right? Because what's the one thing that we say? Like, that's a running thing on social media when parents is like their kids, oh, I want to go to McDonald's. You got McDonald's money? It appeals to kids. It's supposed to be fast and convenient. It's supposed to be inexpensive. So they go and they bring in this Arch Burger. It is marketed as the adult burger. It's a more sophisticated burger. It's on a fancier bun. It has this special sauce. It's not like the Big Mac sauce. It has this decadent sauce to it. It takes them longer to make this burger because of all the stuff they have to put on it. It's a thicker burger. It takes longer to cook. All these different things. And it's marketed for adults. It flopped. Nobody cares about a premium burger at McDonald's. Okay? I'm not looking for a restaurant style burger, damn near filet mignon type burger at McDonald's. I'm not looking to spend just for the burger itself $10 freaking dollars for a burger. So it doesn't work. Whereas some people who talk about, they just think, oh, it's a burger, it's a burger, it's a burger. That's what they sell. But there are things that don't work. Your niche or your brand, and some people confuse that niche and your branding. What do people expect from you? People don't expect a premium burger. So that's going to not work. Most will have you believe, oh, they are a burger joint. They can sell any burger that they want. They should be able to sell it. It doesn't work because it does not fit within their niche of affordable, fast, kid-friendly. Does that make sense? Do you have things that define your business? Do you have core principles for your business? Do you have core values for your business? When you establish those, it helps you niche down. I'll tell you, I'm going to close this off with myself, right? I can teach a whole lot of things. I have been using Photoshop longer than I have been using Silhouette Studio. I have been using Photoshop for nearly 3 decades. I started this when I was in the 11th grade. I am 44. I could teach Photoshop. I choose not to. I didn't want, that's a more advanced program. My niche was beginner, startups, those beginning phases, setting the foundation. Do I know these programs? Yes. Most of my audience did not know that I use Photoshop, that I even knew about Photoshop, that I use Photoshop until something like I happened to show it for something. It's like, wait a minute, you do Photoshop? And then people were asking me to teach Photoshop classes. I was asked to teach Photoshop classes for maybe 3 years before I even dropped my basic Photoshop one. And I won't go past that because my niche is beginner. It's foundational. My classes are titled Essentials, Foundation, Understanding. That is my niche. I can teach different things, but I am going to always teach the foundation, what you need to know to get started. Once you know it, you can move on. You know how many people asked me once they took my Photoshop class, they wanted me to teach more advanced things? No, go find somebody else. Did I see that as me losing money because I'm not teaching them how to do all of the advanced things? Absolutely not, because I have people that are still going to come in. There are people that still need to know the beginning part of it. I don't have the capacity. How many classes would I have to teach per day, per hour to be able to teach a beginner, an intermediate, and an advanced class? When it came to Silhouette Studio, I taught the foundational things for the longest. Very, very simple. It wasn't until years later where I'm starting to add more of these advanced things to it because the demand for it became a lot. I'm doing Canva. Oh, I got people thinking that I don't know how to do Canva because I'm not doing templates and I'm not doing shirts and I'm not doing this. I don't need to. I teach the foundations of Canva. So there's more than one layer to niching. I don't have to teach everything within Silhouette. You can do so many different things. Am I going to teach all of the different things that you can cut with that? No, I don't do rhinestones. You know how many times people ask me to teach about bling shirts and rhinestones and designs? It was one day in a larger class that I went over stones. Do you know how many people did not know that I knew rhinestones until they saw the jacket that I made for my son for prom? People didn't think I did bling, but then they see this jacket, it's like, wait a minute, you do bling? Yeah, for my kid. I'm not going to teach this. This is too tedious. This is too intricate. You got to want to learn the basics first. I'm always going to focus on the basics first. That is my niche. That is my thing. I choose not to teach the advanced parts of any type of designing software, any type of process. I'm always going to teach the beginning. That is my niche. And I ain't hurting. What is the thing that you want to be known for? Change your mindset about what niche is. No one's trying to put you in a box, back you into a corner. Ask yourself, why are you doing all these different things? Can you make one thing really work for you? And if you are the person that's like, well, I get bored with it, then you don't want to do business. Go watch some podcasts, real like actual CEOs. They don't even get to be the worker bees. They're delegating. They're sitting in a bunch of boring behind meetings. At the top, it's very, very boring. As far as like the business stuff, yeah, they may have fun with like the networking and they have a little bit more freedom. But when it comes to the business stuff, they're doing a lot of boring things. They're sitting in a bunch of meetings. So when you're like, oh, well, I don't want to just do one thing. I get bored too easily. You're not ready for business. You're still in the side hustle. Because at the top, it's boring. It's very, very boring. You talk to a lot of people leave certain industries because they want to get to that higher like level, and then they're bored. They're bored because there's nothing to do there, but it's making them great money. You think they're going to go back down to being a worker bee just to fulfill their passion and I don't want to be bored? No, they go find a hobby. You bored? Go find a hobby. Turn some of those things into what you do as a hobby and not try and monetize it. Some of y'all have a lot of thinking to do about business. I am starting from scratch. I have built a successful business for 10 years. And now I am starting from scratch. Part of it is you have to change sometimes. Like, y'all don't care about silhouette anymore. So I am teaching Canva, but how I want to teach it for systems. I want to teach you I want to teach you how to really, really use it. I use it for video editing. I use it for my thumbnails. I use it for spreadsheets. Hell, I have a whole spreadsheet on there that tracks my son's seizure medicine. It tracks his seizures. We have timers on there. I have like the stuff for my business. We have brainstorming things on there. I've created invitations. I've created PowerPoints. I've created ebooks on there and different guides that will be printed. I've created a lot of things on it because I understand the system as a whole and its benefits, the benefits to it. And I am teaching that part of it. There's a link in the description here somewhere. We're changing the model of it. To where we're going to teach it over the course of like the first 3 months of the year, the first quarter of the year. We are teaching it. It is a bi-weekly payment of $15.63. There's going to be a lesson every single week. Now, if you were the ones who actually signed up when it was Understanding Canva and it was $65 or the Understanding Canva, you are locked in. Your $65 gets you all of that. Because you signed up early. You did not hesitate. But we do have it now, and it'll debit out $15.63. Now, if you want to pay for the full training, you pay for 6-month access. It is $163.65. It's 3 months of training, but you get 6 months access to it so that you can still watch it and learn and things like that. But I'm only teaching it for 3 months because after 6 months, if you still don't know some of these things, Houston, we have a problem. Because again, we're teaching the foundational things now. And then we have other ones for like Canva for business and Canva for video, Canva for classrooms, Canva for Canva sheets and teaching different databases via Canva. But just to understand it, it's 3 months to get a full understanding, a class every single week. And then 3 months after that, you'll have access to it to go back, to practice, to do all of the things. You should be able to learn the inner workings of Canva and just how it works within those 6 months. So you can do a one-time purchase for it. It's $163.65 if you just want to pay it straight out. If you want to do buy now, pay later and use the multiple payments with Klarna, Afterpay, Sezzle's not on there, like Klarna, Affirm, there we go. It's $173.65. So the link is in the description. There's already content there, the same videos that we did, so you can start there. We have live sessions next week, the 30th and the 31st, to round off 2025, where I'm going to go back over those foundational things. So if you want to be in the room, the only caveat this time is Shakia is no longer doing evening classes. It is at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, you'll have the playbacks, and we will have one study hall session per month that's in the evening, but all the classes will take place in the daytime, and then you can go and watch those, and then you can attend the study hall session that will be in the evening. But the sessions are on Tuesdays. Go after, like, in the new year. They will be on Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Next week's sessions is next week, Wednesday and Thursday. No, Tuesday and Wednesday. 30th and 31st. What day is that? Tuesday and Wednesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Tuesday and Wednesday, the 30th and 31st, 11 a.m. And it's going over the foundational part and understanding Canva. That is what we stick to. I've done some advanced things in there, but I ain't teaching it just yet. Okay. I really want to focus on cutting and engraving wood products, focusing on parties. I think Canva will work for me using SVGs. Canva would not be, if you're doing cutting and engraving, Canva would not be the best place to create designs for that, because you can't natively weld things and subtract things. You have to go into apps, and then that gets kind of funky and weird with like combining things and making them, like, if you're just going to do just names, then that works. But if you're doing like any type of actual like intricate designs, Canva would not be the perfect place. The least expensive place to learn it, well, to create them, would be Silhouette Studio, and get the business edition so that you can save it, as an SVG. There are ways to use the free version of Silhouette Studio and be able to save as an SVG, but it just takes extra steps and you have to go through a website to convert it. But Silhouette Studio would be the least expensive. I'm still gonna say the best option for something like that. You can, of course, use Illustrator, Affinity Designer, or now it's called Affinity. Is it called Affinity Vector? It's now completely free, so you can use those. You don't need a subscription. That's through your Canva account if you want to use Affinity. But for what you're doing, Canva would not be the best option because you cannot freely adjust your elements and your designs. So I would not recommend that. I think I did see. Okay, you said you have. She says, is 19 projects because of my scatterbrain. You have a sawgrass, so that's sublimation. 2 silhouettes, a rolling BN20. So that is, die cutting. They kind of sort of do the same thing, but your rolling would be more so, hopefully you're using it for, good vinyl, and for larger designs and things of that nature. Your silhouette is smaller cuts, but I use my silhouette. I use my silhouettes with my rolling. I don't always want to have to keep changing the blade depth and things of that nature. It drives me crazy because it doesn't have like just a click. So I like to leave that cutter like set for a specific vinyl, and everything else I cut on my silhouette, or I can use like my Caesar Romeo. I send it to print. I create the design. I save it the way I need to. I send it over to the roll-in. I have guidelines on it. I cut it down. I put it on the mat. It's cutting it. The roll-in works better as a printer, so I try and keep that thing printing, and then I use something else for cutting. Now, a lot of people do that, but they'll use like either a Graphtec cutter. They'll even use a Roland has like their own cutter. So it's not something that's unorthodox to go and print it. Does it print and cut? Yes, but it's a better printer than it is a cutter. There's a lot of people who print on it and then they go to a separate cutting machine. I just so happen to use my silhouettes to cut mine. So you are able to do that as well if you want to print something out and use it to create stencils, or if you're wanting to do engraving. I'm not sure if you do sandblasting, if you do the engraving with the etching material. So if you want to create stencils, your silhouette will come in handy for that. So Glowforge, yes, it cuts things, but then it is thicker items. It would be, I'm not sure which Glowforge you have, and what, because there's the smaller one that it doesn't cut through the same things. So I don't know exactly which Glowforge you have, but that's going to cut through bigger items. Now you could learn Silhouette to be able to create the designs for that, but like trying to maneuver through all of these to create a design for this, save this, move this over here. Okay, let that cut. There are certain things that you have to like babysit. I have to, and you can be all over the place. You have them now. Some things, don't make them a part of business. You have it. It won't be a waste if you use it for personal projects. If you use it for things that's just like a hobby for you. I don't turn my rolling on every single day, and I don't worry about that. I don't leave mine running. I think that's the dumbest thing in the world. People tell me I have to leave it running. I've gone days, weeks, and mine still works. My print head hasn't, gone out or anything like that with the roll-in, and I've gone weeks without printing on it. I don't leave mine on because that's a waste of ink because it's going to keep going through the cleaning cycle, and I have not had any issues, knock on wood. So maybe figure out the things that you don't need to be a part of business. It is okay. Y'all have, for some of you, it's going to be not feeling like you wasted money in buying the things. You made a bad decision, but now you have to live with that. Don't try and force the business just because you made that purchase. Either you sell it to be able to get some type of money back, or you go and you make the conscious decision that this is going to be something for a hobby. It's going to be something that I do in my free time. If I have a party, I want to be able to make something for somebody. I want to be able to make them some earrings for their birthday or whatever. I don't have to go to the store. I'm still saving money by not going to the store. I'm going to make it myself. But y'all are going to have to be okay with that. When I threw out all that stuff that was in my garage, yes, I spent money on it, but it was not serving me. I wasn't using it personally. I wasn't using it for business. It was already a waste of money. Whether it went in the trash can or it just sat on a shelf, it was not making me money. But me throwing it away made space for that I can store things that would make me money. Y'all have to stop being afraid to throw some shit away or to sell it. Okay? You just need to use what you have, but also which one, like make a decision which one of those machines you need for business, especially if you are by yourself. How will you market? How will you how are you going to get new customers? How are you going to get customers that you already have to purchase new things? Like those are the things that you should be trying to figure out, not just how to use, because if the majority of the people come to you and they are always looking for the 3D cut things, now you can have so your GoForge and your, okay, let me put it this way. Dang it. Because now I'm probably about to make you more, I probably shouldn't say, because I'm probably gonna make you more confused and make you like more like, oh my God, what am I gonna do with this? But it depends on what you're trying to make, right? So you can use your GoForge to cut unisub or material that you would sublimate, right? You're using this to make your own blanks. Now your your sawgrass makes sense because you're going to cut the item with your GlowForge. You're going to be able to print it out, press it, and you're able to make whatever blank you want, whatever size you want, press that thing for whatever you want to be known for. If it's for birthdays, if it's for, you're going to use this to just print out things for memorials. If you are somebody, your niche could also be, I do seasonal. That means that you need to market it ahead of time. You need to plan out exactly what you want to do for that season. You order a certain number of items for that season. Once they're done, they're done. They're sold out. I'm not about to run around town looking for it. You should have ordered early, should have got the pre-order. You should have just ordered early. No, I'm not going to fulfill your last minute order because you knew what day Valentine's Day fell on. Okay? You knew what day it fell on. It ain't my fault you trying to, never mind, we start people business. But you knew Valentine's Day falls on the same date every single year. So you're not going to rush me. Your child birthday, your boyfriend birthday, your wife birthday, your girl, their birthday falls on the same day. Why am I rushing? Why am I rushing for you and trying to figure out these things? So if you want to do seasonal, get you certain things. You need to figure out your marketing plan for it. Make those items when they're sold out so that you can now prep for the next thing. Okay, so now this is the one that I'm doing. My niche for this season is just this. I'm not mixing it and matching it with a whole bunch of other things. I'm doing just this. Grad season comes, don't ask me to make no birthday stuff. I am swamped with grad stuff. Don't ask me about making nothing for no birthday, no, none of it. I'm swamped with this. I don't want to look at anything that's not grad. That's just kind of how I am. So you can have it where that is your niche. You do seasonal times, but you have to have the right marketing plan for that. But you can cut it out, you can sublimate. You can also do it where you're going to cut it out. And if you have a roll-in and you don't want to sublimate, because sometimes that can be hit or miss, I'm going to print it out on this vinyl. I'm going to cut it, and then I'm going to go and apply this vinyl to this cut piece of acrylic, to this wood, whatever it is. So you're using the printers to apply it to hard surfaces that you're going to cut with your Glowforge. Now, if you go and you got embroidery machines and all this, I can't help you figure it out. DTF ain't really made for you to be pressing to no wood or no acrylic. Like, it's not ideal for that. I can't help you out. But if it's just something like, okay, Glowforge and then the Sawgrass machines, or Glowforge and the rolling machines, even with the silhouette, because you can use that to cut, those things make sense. Now, all these other machines you may have, they might just need to be for personal use. Hopefully that helps. Okay. All right. My son is at the door. I actually beat 2 hours. Yay. I said I did not want to be on here for 2 hours. Your dad's not out there? Oh, there he is. Okay. I was going to say, like, he all at my door. Like, your daddy's out there. She says they stopped making the big and tasty, and it's frustrating because you may have, she says, because to me, a Big Mac is not worth $10. But a Big Mac by itself isn't $10, is it? The meal is, it's like what, $7, $8 or something like that, right? For a Big Mac. I haven't purchased one. I like cheeseburgers, so I'm not getting those. And she said they stopped making the big and tasty, and it's frustrating. And there was like a handful of people that liked that, but they were like, things like that they lose money on because the masses, the number of people, the volume of people that are ordering it, it was not there. So they're wasting, money on those things. Wait, you're saying no to DTF, or you don't have a DTF machine. That's not a part of your machines, right? Good. Good. All right, y'all. My kid is here. Want to find out about him going fishing, see if he brought any fish home. And that's just my take on niching. Like, you have to change your mindset about what niching is. It's not as cut and dry as some people make it out to be. There's niches within niches within niches. At the end of the day, you have to figure out what truly works for you. And simply just saying, well, because I'm passionate about a lot of things, I'm good at a lot of things, can you really scale it? If you're in business, you should be considering how to scale it. Now, if you're like, I don't want to scale, I want to just kind of do this, I'm okay with whatever revenue comes in, then you have to be okay with that. But businesses that really, really are successful have things that are repeatable. Or if it's something that is not repeatable and it's one of a kind, they're selling to a demographic and a market that will pay top dollar. You cannot have this all over the place and you're selling something for $30. It's just not going to work. You're not going to scale. You're not going to reach those financial milestones with things like that. You can be successful. Hear me clearly, because y'all like to twist that. Oh, she said you ain't gonna make no money if you don't niche down. I never said that. So let me make sure that is very clear right now. I am not saying that if you don't niche down that you're not going to make money, but your quality of life, like how you live and the frustration and the toll that it takes on you, something is going to have to give. Something is going to be that sacrificial lamb when you're doing that. If you're wanting to scale, doing it that way from experience, it does not work. I have made a lot of money doing it, but I've also been very frustrated. When I went and I scaled down and I don't try to do things just because a few people, I've been at peace because I had to figure it out. I don't want to have another heart attack. I don't want to scare my kids again. I don't want to scare my family again. So I'm not trying to take on all of these different things that just leave me overwhelmed. Hell, even with the orders that I get, last week was crazy for me for all of the Christmas orders. And then I still was doing classes in between that. That was hectic, completely hectic. So I don't take on a lot of customized like orders and things of that nature because right now my focus is teaching. Right now my focus is teaching my Canva classes. My focus right now is helping people develop systems for their business. I want to get back to the full on mentorship and coaching with the creative business program. But right now, I can't do that because majority of like creatives and crafters, they want classes at night. That doesn't work for me. I'm trying to host classes in the daytime, like regular work hours, like everybody else. You have to determine what is best for you, whether you niche down or not. And you can, and if your stance right now is, I don't want to be in a box, if you ever need to, don't be ashamed to come back and say, Shakia, now I understand what you mean. When if you have to shift and you have to pivot, business change as an entrepreneur, expect the unexpected, be prepared to change and have to switch up and have to make adjustments, people's tastes, people's likes, like it always changes. And sometimes you don't have to necessarily get like a whole new thing, but how can you repurpose what you already have? Start there first before you take on something new. But hopefully that helps. Until next time, have a great one. Continue to unlock your creativity and be incredible. And to the young lady, I'm gonna send you a message because you didn't respond back on here, but I am going to respond to you with the IG that you sent me. And that background, okay? So I haven't forgotten about you. All right, y'all. Peace.